Well, hello, welcome to Balancing Act. As you can see, Linda Wilson is not with me. This is Sam McEwen, your host for today. I have with me a very special guest. Boy, I can't even speak this morning. So we want to welcome Dr. Kathy. She says not to call her that, but I see she's got that up on the screen, so we'll do that. But Kathy Knight, and Kathy, I know Kathy through my chiropractor's office and through some things that we are involved with together. And so Kathy has a PhD, I'm going to get this wrong, in analytical chemistry. Is that correct?
You got it
Wow, I got that
right.
right.
That was
So,
perfect.
so Kathy, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your family, a little bit about your history and your credentials?
Absolutely, Sam. First of all, thank you so much for having me today. It is such an honor to be here with you. So, I have a PhD in analytical chemistry. I was born in New York, but grew up in Miami.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, my parents met in New York. And when I was about 2 years old, my dad got a job in Pittsburgh. And so my parents moved from Brooklyn, New York to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they lasted one winter before it was so cold. So they moved down to Miami. That's essentially where I grew up. And I lived in Miami most of my life until a little storm came along called Hurricane Andrew. Back
Ooh,
in, August 24th of 1992 was Hurricane Andrew. It's like one of those days that I will never forget because I was actually scheduled to start college at University of Miami. And after that hurricane, I decided to get out of Miami. And at the time, I was dating someone who was in the Air Force. So he got stationed to a little town in Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, an Air Force base called Moody Air Force Base.
right. Hmm.
And so that is where I did my bachelor's degree in chemistry at Valdosta State University.
Okay.
Um, I started off, I always knew that science was something that I loved and intrigued me. And so I started off as a biology major, but I really enjoyed my chemistry classes. And so I finished my bachelor's in chemistry there and decided I wanted to come back to Florida. So I finished and moved back to Florida. I moved to Tampa, Florida, and went to the University of South Florida, where I
Well,
got my PhD in analytical chemistry.
wow.
And after that, I thought I was going to go work for a pharmaceutical company. However, God directed me in a different direction.
He
And
does that.
he does, yes. And it just so happened that they were starting to open chemistry, starting to teach 4-year programs at USF's campus in St. Petersburg, Florida. And so I was the first chemistry professor ever hired there, developed their chemistry program, helped to develop a graduate
Wow.
program. Yes, and taught there for 17 years. So that was
Wow.
a lot
You
of
don't look that
fun.
old.
Oh, well, I thank you. Um, so that was a lot of fun. And in the summers, I love teaching, but I also love the outdoors. And so an opportunity developed, and in the summers, I would go up to Georgia and also South Carolina, basically South Carolina, Aiken, South Carolina, to the Savannah River site, and I ran their Savannah River Environmental Sciences Field Station program,
Oh, wow.
it was a lot of fun. We brought in students, underprivileged students from all over the country, and we taught them different classes. They actually did college courses, and it was all field based. So we worked outside, and that was a lot of fun.
I'll bet. I'll bet.
Yeah, so I did that. But one of the things that I realized was I was missing a lot of time with my children. I have two children. I have a son, James, who is 18 now, and my daughter, Alexandria, who's 15. And I missed, even though teaching didn't occupy that much of my time, I was doing a lot of research and I was missing a lot of time with my kids. So I
Yeah.
took a step back, walked away from teaching, and contemplated the world's existence for a few years. I guess you could say that,
Yep.
living, semi-retired there. And that led me to a chiropractor office that I work at now. I was actually in two back to back car accidents.
Ooh.
Yes, in 2021. So everybody thought 2020 was a bad year. And then 2021 hit, and I was like, okay, 2021 is going to be so much better. This is my year.
Right.
This is going to be great. January 4th, I was in one car accident. And then February 9th, I was in another car accident.
Wow.
Yes, I know. And neither one were my fault, by the way. Just a string of bad luck, but I actually don't believe it was luck anymore. I believe
Yeah.
that was really something that led me to the direction that I'm in now,
Mhm.
spending a lot of time in the chiropractor office. I had already started a journey on natural health,
Okay.
and being there just reinforced it. And so I last year decided to go and get a certificate in nutrition from Stanford University. And that is where my focus is now, really just helping people with their nutrition and just really and truly lighting people up and giving them back hope that they don't
Yes.
have to be on a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs, that they can still change their lives, they can change their lifestyle, and they can be so much happier and healthier.
Yes. Yeah, and just for background information, why I've asked Kathy here is I've used Kathy. I had, most of you know, over the last couple of years, 2022 was not my good year. That was the congestive heart failure, cancer surgery, sinus surgery, all that kind of good stuff. But in that, I've been on quite a few different medications for heart and for things like that, and I don't like them. And I had an incident with primary care. My blood work came back horrible. Iron, I had basically wasn't producing any iron, or I wasn't, I don't know what the word is. You know more than I do. But anyway, I took that report to Kathy, and she consulted with some other friends of hers, doctors and such, and came back, and we started a plan. And I became very much aware of things that I was doing wrong. Now, my wife and I always, I mean, we say we eat healthy, we don't, but we eat healthier now than we used to. And one of the things that was missing from my diet was protein. And I had no idea how much. And one of the things Kathy did is I started, didn't track calories, didn't track anything, just track the food. And the app that I was using did all that. Very simple idea. And then it gave me a really good idea of where I was at and some of the things that I was doing wrong and doing right. And so, and that led us to a conversation with some of the products and some of the things that Kathy is involved with. And so when it comes to nutrition and supplements and things like that, there's a lot of misinformation out there,
Absolutely.
right? And so that's one thing we would try to clear up today, and we will put Kathy's information in the show links so that if you have questions, you want to reach out to her, ask her questions. She's very knowledgeable, and will help you with some of your health things. And as always, if you're looking to make some changes in your health, please see your primary care first. Okay.
Absolutely.
And because I know that Kathy will ask you that, so you might as well just take care of that right away. But we've started on a plan of different supplements and different things, and I can tell you that I know and can tell a difference. My wife can tell a difference, and there's just some things we'll get into later. But when you talk about supplements, you talk about vitamins, you talk about things like that. There's people have a whole bunch of questions. Well, I can just go buy it over the counter. I can do this. I can do that. Because of course, the federal government is looking out for us when it comes to all that stuff, right?
Mm.
Yep. So, but I got a couple of questions for you. We decided to have some fun with this to try and put this into some sort of perspective and make you understand that you really do have to take care of your health. You really do have to take care of your bodies. But here's a question for you, Kathy. If vitamins were characters in a superhero movie, which vitamin would be the hero, and what would its superpower be?
Okay, so that I love that question, Sam. That's awesome. There are so many essential vitamins and nutrients that our bodies need, but one that I think would be the absolute superhero is vitamin C. All right, vitamin C, and its superhero power would be immune system support, to support our immune system. Vitamin C is so important in our bodies to help with free radical damage, to help with healing, our healing process in our bodies. I think vitamin C would be the superhero of the day.
And so But we live in Florida. Why would we need that vitamin?
Why would we need vitamin C?
Oh,
Oh,
C. You
well,
said C. I thought you said D.
I said C. Vitamin D also. I mean, vitamin D
Okay.
is super important for our immune system as well. But vitamin C, we live in Florida. We have oranges. So I know we can get a lot of
Yeah.
vitamin C
Yeah.
from our oranges there. But also even vitamin D, if we want to talk about vitamin D as a
Yep.
superhero as well.
Yeah. And this, I'm sure you get this question. People say it all the time. Well, I live in Florida. I have enough. It's a sunshine state.
It is the sunshine state. Absolutely. However, if you look at our diet and our lifestyle, first of all, our food that is grown these days, the soils are depleted. Our soils don't have the natural nutrients and ingredients that they used to have. You know, we have overfarmed our soils
Mhm.
and we are farming so much that we're not allowing nature to replenish those soils naturally. And so supplementation is an absolute must these days. And in terms of vitamin D, if you look, almost everybody that goes and gets their vitamin D blood work done, they're deficient.
Absolutely.
Even here in the state of Florida, the Sunshine State, you know, the best source of vitamin D is to go outside in the sun for 20 minutes and expose as much skin as you can to the sun to help your body to produce vitamin D. Unfortunately, most of us, I can't say, okay, hey, I'm going to take a little 15-minute break, take my clothes off at work and go outside and get some
Right.
sun.
Yeah.
That's not going to
Yeah.
happen. So vitamin D is super important for our bodies and supplementing it. The problem with vitamin D supplementation, or the problem with supplementation in general, that most people are completely unaware of. I remember as a kid, I was always told you are what you eat. And I have learned as a chemist, you are what you absorb. It's not just about what you're eating. If your body's not absorbing those nutrients, then you're not doing yourself any good.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's the problem that we have with a lot of supplements that are over the counter that you can just go buy. You're really wasting your money.
Right. Right. So let me ask you this then. Can you describe what happens inside our stomachs when we eat junk food as if our stomach was a wild jungle adventure? Can you let us know what happens there? Since we're talking about absorption and everything else, that's got to be where a lot of this takes place.
Absolutely, absolutely in our stomachs. So if we eat, first of all, who doesn't like junk food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, junk food, the manufacturers have really keyed in on producing junk food and making it so that it's addictive for our bodies. And it's really hard. You know, mentally, you have to overcome that physical addiction. That physical addiction really comes from sugar. All
Uh,
right. And so there's too much sugar that we have in our diets and our processed foods. And so if it were like a jungle adventure, I would say that, you know, the junk food, a lot of our junk food is greasy stuff. So that would be like little snakes that were like slithering around, all these snakes. And then sugar, if you think about it, I don't know if you ever gone to the zoo and you see monkeys, you know, monkeys are all excited.
oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
wild little monkeys there.
Yeah.
So they would be on the sugar, like swinging from the branches in our
Okay.
stomachs.
Okay.
Going crazy.
Okay. That is a very good description. So I have, uh, one of the things that I know, and this I struggle with this, and since the congestive heart failure and the stuff I'm on, water. Okay, if water is just water, why do our bodies need so much of it? And what super cool tricks does it do to us inside?
All right. So water is essentially life. Okay. Our bodies, we could not survive without water. And our bodies, depending upon how old we are, 40-50% of our bodies are water.
Mhm.
And so water is essential for our cells to function, all of our cell functions. For people that want to lose weight, they don't realize water is super important. People think that they're retaining water because they're drinking too much water. There's too much water in their bodies, or salt, or things like that. And I'm not saying that doesn't play a small part, but actually our bodies need water. So if you don't supply your water with enough or if you don't supply your water, if you don't supply your body with enough water, your body will start to retain even more water so that it can function. But people that want to lose weight, you're going to lose fat through sweating. That's your fat cells and stuff get expelled through sweat through our bodies. So we have to get rid of the water and we have to replace it. So hydration is super important. Removing toxins. All right. That is a vital function that we need water in our bodies to be able to have those toxins flow through and get out of our systems, whether it's through our skin cells, which our skin is our largest organ of our body, and it's responsible for a lot of our detoxing in our bodies as well.
Okay. So how come our brains love junk food so much? And how can we train ourselves to like healthier foods instead?
All right. So that is one that, for me, before I started really diving into nutrition, I will tell you my diet as a child, I ate macaroni and cheese. I ate pizza. I drank zero milk. I drank zero water. So this is, coming from somebody who's basically reformed. So I was never perfect. A lot of what I've done is learning from what is healthier for you, and through different circumstances in life. Life kind of, I think, teaches you where you have to be, and it actually kind of shows up in your face that you need to change and make those changes. Unfortunately, that's what happens. All right. But junk food in our brains. So sugar, people don't realize sugar is more addictive than crack cocaine.
Oh, wow.
In terms of our sensors in our brains. So it is super hard to stop. All right. One thing that I advise people to do is, can you cut sugar completely out of your diet? Probably not. Making a small change. That's like the biggest thing that people need to do, is make a small change. If you can make a small change, those small changes over time add up. So instead of, I'll tell you, my junk food of choice were gummy bears. Okay. I loved gummy bears. And then I would lie to myself and tell myself, well, these are nutritious because I'm getting gelatin. And that's really important for the structure of my nails and my hair and everything. I made all sorts of excuses. But instead of eating those gummy bears, if I have that sweet tooth, now I'm going to go for strawberries instead. I'm going to change. I'm going to do natural sugar that comes from fruits and also vegetables. Some vegetables, we can get some sugar taste in there. You have to retrain your taste buds so they're not craving that sugar that is the artificial sugar.
Well, okay. So there's a lot of artificial sweeteners out there. Should we just switch to that?
Oh, well, why not, right? No, absolutely not.
Artificial. I knew the answer.
I did, right?
So
artificial sweeteners, not good. So the problem with artificial sweeteners, there's a couple of issues. Number one, artificial sweeteners, they claim they're 0-calorie sweeteners. All right. And so our bodies, in order for our bodies to function, we need calories. All right. We need to have calories to supply our body with energy, but you want nutritious calories. It's the quality of the calorie, not necessarily the quantity of the calories either, but the quality, where you get those calories from. Artificial sweeteners themselves, even though they're 0 calories, they're still going to weigh something. So if you ingest those artificial sweeteners, they're not getting processed and they're building up in your bodies. I remember I had a physical trainer once that when I started working out, that told me the worst thing that people can drink, they think drinking a Diet Coke is good for you because it's 0 calories. It's the worst thing. They find that people that drink those diet sodas and have diet candies and things gain more weight. They have a harder time losing weight. You've got to boost your metabolism so that you're burning more calories and not just taking in empty calories.
Wow. There's a lot there. So we're about out of time for today. Would you be willing to come back for next week's session and talk a little bit more? I still have some more questions, and I'd really like to get into the whole calorie thing and stuff like that, because as we've talked before, there's a lot of misinformation out there. and
Absolutely.
about around calories and energy and stuff like that. So, so Kathy, I'd like to thank Kathy Knighton for being our guest here on Balancing Act. We want to remind you to live intentionally, be very, very blessed, my friends. We'll see